All right, welcome back to another episode of Beck the Vet. And this week I have my brother, Dr. Julius Xerxes Johnson. He is here to go talk about his military career, his cybersecurity profession, and what he does for our fraternity as the programs and director of programs and initiatives for our
Hmm.
fraternity.
Right. As well as still being the National Director of Academics as well.
And director of academics. That's what I'm talking
Hmm.
about. All right, bro. I appreciate it. A man of many hats. I appreciate you for being on the platform. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Not a problem. The first question I have, I like to always get to know my guests. So, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and how do you think that helped shape who you are today?
Sure. So, uh, I first 11 years of my life was born and raised in Chicago, Illinois, and at the age of 11, when my biological mother and father split up. My mother's originally from Arkansas, so I and my three other brothers. I'm the second oldest of four boys that they had, and she moved back to Little Rock, Arkansas. And so in Little Rock, Arkansas, that's pretty much where I grew up. Attended Little Rock Central High, went to high school there, the historic Little Rock Central High, and then I went to college. I was the first one in my family on both sides to go to and graduate from college. So did that, and then pretty much grew up in an environment that really promoted diversity and family. Um, and it was around my aunts and uncles. Uh, was able to grow up and make some pretty good friends that I still have today through college. And then not only that, but that's when I joined the military in college. Basically it was to do it to make some money, to have some money for college. But ended up determining if I want to do this, let me do this the right way. And so I was encouraged to go to warrant officer school, but the unit that I was in got disbanded, so that position, that slot went away, and so then was encouraged to go to OCS and become a commissioned officer. So that's what I did, and spent 37 years in the military. Uh, Ended up starting in the National Guard, but then ended up going Title 10 or for the Army, and I spent my remaining time till I retired in December of 2022 uh, in the military, retiring at the rank of colonel.
I wanted to I wanted to ask you, are you the highest ranking retiree in our fraternity as a colonel?
Uh, Basically, so there is one other gentleman who is in the chapter in Mississippi. He also retired at the rank of colonel. So
Okay.
I think that yeah. So there are two of us that I know of at this point that are in the fraternity.
Okay. Are you two the only officers that are in the
No, there are
fraternity?
several
Or
other
do we have other
officers.
officers?
Yeah, there are several other officers that are in the military. I think I know a few that are lieutenants. I know a few that are captains or majors, and then even a
Okay.
couple that are lieutenant colonels, and then even some that are warrant officers as well.
Awesome.
I think
Awesome.
across the
So,
board, the majority of the members of the fraternity are enlisted, and I think the majority of the members of the fraternity are across all branches of the military are predominantly E7 and below. Some E8, but majority of the folks, even when you talk about the folks who retired or got out, the majority of them are E7 and below across all branches of the military. And then you have, like I said, a small group that are officers, and then you have in the enlisted ranks, retired or still active, E8 and above, E9.
Got you. So, who were some of the people that had the greatest influence on your life?
Of course, my mother definitely had a great amount of influence on my life. She has been, kind of the main person that has instilled in me this concept of no matter where I go and no matter what I do, always try to create positive impact and to try to leave a situation better than it was, before I got there. And so that's one of the main things in my life that has always been a driving force, and that is wherever I go and whatever I do, especially in my military career, I've either been sent to places to either start something new or to fix something. So I've always tried to have a mentality of, number one, doing my best, but creating positive impact to where I leave a situation better than it was before I get there. And that's even now as a civilian, what I still try to do. Another person that was very influential to my life was my English teacher. She was mainly my 10th and 11th grade English teacher, Miss Odessa Talley. She's no longer with us, but definitely during that period of time, she took an interest to me, encouraged me, kept me on the straight and narrow. Miss Talley did not play, and so doing work and being prepared, you had to come to her class prepared and ready because she was going to expect that. And then my godfather, I would say he was the first person, his name is Ivory Ellison. He was the first person to introduce me to Christ. I remember when I was little, I would ask him all kind of questions about God and about Jesus, and he never got impatient with answering those questions. And then another person who was influential a little later on, and it was a Mr. Robert Foster, I believe, in our neighborhood. He worked for a community development program. He was a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. And I remember he would take us on camping trips and teach us, about doing positive things and being, again, positive impact, and about school and why that's important, and teaching us things, on camping trips. And so some of those people were very influential to me. That drive, that desire to want to innovate, to want to do things, is probably attributed to some of those people and the impact they've had in my life.
All right. So you talked a little bit about your military career. So what led you to join the military, and what lessons from those early years still resonate with you today?
Yeah, so again, being honest, the reason why I first got into the military was financial reasons. Again, I was the first one in my family to go to college, and we didn't have a lot of money. So I had to figure out ways to get myself, the funds in order to fund my way through college. And so some of my friends, joined the National Guard, and it seemed like a pretty decent deal. As a matter of fact, the intent was to get in the National Guard and, to help pay for school. And then when I got through, I would be done. So that was the initial reason, money for college. But then as I was in, and there was a Sergeant First Class Sammy Hood, who took some of us young sergeants and specialists kind of under his wing. He was the readiness NCO for the infantry brigade headquarters that we were at. And he, again, through his mentorship and through encouragement and holding us to a certain standard, when you got to come to drill, you got to come to drill. And he called us and say, look, you need to be here. And then making sure that, we're good. That further encouraged me to stay in the military and then figure out, how can I make this thing work for me? And then I was blessed enough to become a signal officer and come up under a battalion commander. His name was Lieutenant Colonel, at the time, Lieutenant Colonel William Johnson. He is now retired Brigadier General William Johnson. He's the first African American general in the Arkansas National Guard. And so when he was our battalion commander and I was a young lieutenant, again, he took the time to talk to us and mentor us. A lot of people thought for a while that he was my father because, again, his last name was Johnson and so was mine. But, those people, again, pouring into my life is what encouraged me to, those things. Again, I originally wanted to get in the military for money, but I stayed because those individuals helped me to see my why. And that's another principle that I try to teach, is helping people to see and understand their why. Why are they doing what they're doing? And why is it important? And helping them to understand why it's important, to give them more purpose in what they're doing. So that's my why.
Got you. All right, so are there any books, movies, shows that have influenced your mindset or perspective?
I would say currently, right now, there's a book that I've been reading over the past, with everything else that I got going on. But there's a book that I've definitely been reading over the past couple of months, and it's called No More Excuses by Tony Evans. I like Tony Evans, period, because he's a real no-nonsense person. He has a gift of explaining things that can reach you on, no matter what level you are on. And so this book, No More Excuses, is about how to be the type of man that God wants you to be, in spite of the hurt that you may have experienced in your past. And he basically is talking a lot about David and the things that David went through in his life, and how to, when those things, those traumatic situations have happened, how to not allow those things to hinder you from being the best you that you can be. Because David experienced some traumatic things. Imagine being in a family and you being one of the youngest, and you have brothers that are supposed to watch out and protect you, and they turn on you and basically, try to set up your demise simply over a coat, that your father gives you. Imagine that. Then imagine being sold into slavery or indentured servitude, and then you're taken away to a place that you're not familiar with, and people you're dealing with that you're not familiar with, and then somebody lying on you and getting you in trouble, and then you having to go to prison simply because of what someone else done. All these traumatic things. How do you get past and through them? And so this book that I'm reading by Dr. Tony Evans really helps you to get past that, to be the type of man that God wants you to be, and not allow those traumatic experiences to be excuses to why you don't become the best you that you can be. And then you talked about what other thing. There's a movie called The Shack. It's based off of a book, but it's called The Shack. And if you haven't checked it out, I encourage you to do it. It's basically about a young man who lost his daughter due to someone, killing her. And he goes through a period of redemption where he meets God. But God in this movie is the form of a middle-aged black woman. And Jesus Christ is her son, who is Hispanic. And the Holy Spirit is portrayed in this movie by a woman who is Asian. And so that's a different, unique perspective of how God presents himself, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, in a way that helps you to digest and get through the different traumatic times in your life. And so the issue was getting this young man, who was a white male, to redeem himself and deal with this person who has killed his daughter. And again, imagine someone killing your daughter, and and then you find out who it is, and God telling you, you got to, in order for you to live, you got to learn to forgive this person, and let that hate and that anger and all that go. So these are two pieces of media that really have been impactful to me because it's teaching me about not letting life's, as they say, when life be lifing, to not allow those incidents to prevent me from being my best. And also how God presents himself in ways to help us get through the things that we're going through in life.
Got you. Let's talk about your leadership, service, fraternity, and your career. So you are a cybersecurity professional. So are there any certifications that you currently hold, and are there any certifications that you're currently trying to pursue?
Yeah, so there are a couple that I currently hold is A plus and Security plus. Then also I was fortunate in the mid part of my military career to go through Lean Six Sigma, a black belt program. So I completed the Lean Six Sigma black belt program. That was a real good course to take about problem solving and providing solutions kind of in a scientific way. And so my wife kind of hates that because I analyze a lot of things about wait times and how to speed things up and how to make things more efficient. And sometimes that gets on her nerves. But yeah, it was a class that definitely was impactful to me. And then I also was able to get my project management certification, my PMP. So I have that. Now, what I'm working on now is because AI is really taking, I'm not going to say taking off, it's taking over in so many ways. And so I'm working on my project management professional certification in AI. And so hope to achieve that here in the next couple of months. So that's what I'm currently working on.
Okay, what advice would you give to young professionals interested in entering the cybersecurity field?
So what I would say to professionals entering or trying to enter the cybersecurity field is, and really I would say this no matter what field that you're trying to enter in this day and time, a lot of people are kind of afraid of artificial intelligence, AI. They think, and so kind of the media has, caused them to believe that AI is taking over everything. And it's not that AI is taking over everything. It's just that AI is integrating with everything or with a lot. And so what I would say to kind of help professionals be better prepared is don't look at AI as a threat. Look at it as a tool, just like information technology, just like information assurance, just like cybersecurity. Artificial intelligence or AI, just like all those, are tools, are knowledge capabilities. And don't be afraid of acquiring that knowledge. As a matter of fact, I highly encourage you to acquire that knowledge because just like anything else, it's a tool. No one still, not even AI today, not even AI in the future, will be able to outdo a human. And why I say that is because there are things called feelings and there's things called reasoning that are only aligned to a human. But you can be more proficient, you can be more effective, you can do things faster by using these other tools. So again, for young professionals, no matter what field you're going in, make sure that you understand the history of AI and make sure you understand the AI tools that can help you be more proficient and efficient in what you're trying to do. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Now I see you. You are a member of Kappa Lambda Chi military fraternity, just like myself. I see you have your fraternity shirt on. So, what attracted you to our fraternity, and what was the brotherhood meant to you over the years?
So for me, um, as I was kind of presented with the information about Kappa Lambda Chi Military Fraternity Incorporated, of course, I ended up doing my own little research and understood about that it represents the military profession for one. And then that was interest to me. And then the other thing, of course, was the profession of brotherhood. I mean, the three objectives that are found our fraternity, are wisdom, fidelity, and high ambition. And so those things about brotherhood and about the three objectives definitely interest me because, again, it's for me about how do I sharpen my saw? How do I continue to develop myself? How do I serve at that next level? And then was the opportunity to be part of something bigger than myself and to create that community and that country positive impact that, again, that I keep reiterating. So when I found something that had a common mindset, and I checked it out, and it wasn't didn't seem to be about a bunch of fluff. Then that's when I joined, and now that I'm a member of it, I'm trying to, again, what can I do to serve? What can I do to create positive impact in this organization that sets things up for the current and future generation of this organization?
All right. So, what inspired you to step into the role of National Director of Programs and Initiatives? And what does this position mean to you personally?
So I'm going to say that, again, I serve also as the National Director of Academics as well as the National Director of Programs and Initiatives. And I'm going to say, probably a little bit of divine intervention because I originally was, cool with being a chaplain at the chapter level and was going to serve there, and then asked to come up to the national level. It's going to, be a chaplain because I am a licensed and ordained preacher. But then I realized, some people, can see things in you sometimes that you don't always see at that time in yourself. And there was a gentleman who is part of the fraternity who challenged me to say, hey, I think you could probably do a little bit more than that. And I was like, okay, we'll see. And then I thought about it. I thought about the opportunities that God has exposed me to, especially in the teaching element. And then again, as an officer in the United States military, not just the Army, but the military, because my last 5-10 years was basically joint. I've done a lot of projects and have led a lot of projects. Again, when I would be sent to different places for my next assignment, it was either to start something new or to fix something. And so I'll say the Holy Spirit kind of bringing those things to my remembrance and helping me to see, okay, I can see how the skill sets that God has given me, how I can again use them within the fraternity. And so was given this opportunity and asked to be the National Director of Programs and Initiatives by our international president. And so stepped in that role and started creating some programs along with what we're doing in the National Office of Training Management as the National Director of Academics. So really both of those positions have kind of allowed them or kind of see how they complement each other really when we talk about academics in one vein and programs and initiatives in another.
Okay. You also created the Landerman Outstanding Gentleman of Sagaciousness essay contest, which I won, by the way, when I entered my my video and paper. But what inspired that? Appreciate that. What inspired that idea?
So this is an opportunity for me to give, credit to where credit is due. So first of all, sagaciousness means a quality of being wise, showing keen judgment, and having sound discernment. And so this program was created by Brother Deshaun White, who's part of my team. He is the national director of national training manager, excuse me. And we wanted to create a program that would show, you know, just that the judgment and discernment that our members of the fraternity have. And so he would come up with a particular topic. I challenged him to do that. And then we would take that topic and then create this program that he, you know, brought his suggestion of getting, you know, members such as yourself to do an essay. And it was not just a written essay, but a visual essay where you did a presentation on that particular topic. You know, for instance, you know, why did you pledge, you know, Kappa Lambda Chi?
And I was
Because we
going to
wanted
ask
to
that. I
show,
was going to ask that next. Why was that so important to you? Why did I pledge? Why was that theme the important one?
again, it goes back to showing people the why. Why would I want to become a member of Kappa Lambda Chi? Well, there are other people that can answer that question, not just me. And so this was an opportunity to allow you as a member to be able to share your why, and we can use that to advertise to other members outside of the organization, but then also to help encourage the members that are currently in. Because, you know, there are people who join this organization and for various reasons. And one of the things that I want to try to do is help solidify their why. Because if we help them to understand their why, chances are they'll get more involved and they'll want to stay a lot longer and not just come in it to wear some colors or to wear some, you know, a shield or something on them, but that they would actually start contributing to the overall organization. So, you know, that's why that's
And
important.
I would tell you, as the membership recruiter here for IOTA chapter, I would show that video when it was my turn to do the presentation for new members or people that were interested or going to the interest meetings.
Very
I
good. Very good.
embedded it into the slideshow deck, and I would show that video for people that were interested in joining the fraternity. So the video served a purpose. So I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Good.
Let's get back to your military career. What was the most rewarding assignment of your military career, in your opinion?
So I would say the most rewarding is kind of a tie between two different events. And the two events that happened for me was one when I was a battalion commander of a training center for the National Guard, because I came into command at a time where the whole training center, the 9 different training centers that train specific things for the National Guard. And of course, I was over the IT and cyber training center. And for the first time at that time, the 22-year history of the organization, we were trying to achieve full TRADOC accreditation, which is, you know, a pretty important accreditation in the military training system. And we were able to do that successfully. But not only that, if you've heard of a national exercise now called Cyber Shield, I started Cyber Shield. And I started that national cyber exercise out of my training center the first 2 years. It started in 2013. And so I did 2013 and 2014. And then, of course, it picked up like wildfire to where the other 54 states and territories wanted to participate. And not only that, but everybody was trying to, you know, hey, can you come do it in our state? But the National Guard, in its wisdom, decided to, you know, move it to a couple of other places, but realized that, you know, it couldn't sustain the infrastructure that was needed that we had, you know, at the Professional Education Center in North Little Rock, Arkansas. So it has now come back home. But, you know, that was a pretty big deal because, you know, a lot of people didn't think we could do it. and it became successful, and it has still, it is sustained today because of the foundations that we put in place there. The other thing, I was the senior advisor to the G6, or the Chief Information Officer of the Forces Command, and this was in Fort Bragg, North Carolina. And the commanding general, because of a situation of having to configure networks and systems, and it was taking so long, wanted the G6 to figure out for the reserve component, how can we whittle down this time frame to a more measurable time? I think it was like 37 days or whatever, and that was taking too long. So I was given the task to figure this out, and so we had to create 4 national exercises. 2 of them was with one of them was the National Guard unit, one was with the Army Reserve unit, and the 2 others were with active component units, and then one of them was overseas. So I had to figure out how to do this with these 4 exercises, and I had to create and assemble my team, and not only that, but the findings that we I had to put that in a documentation so that people, kind of a how-to book. And so we were able to reduce that time from 37 days, which was way too long, to 16, which was more doable, 2 weeks. And we created and we wrote a how-to book on how to do that, or a manual rather. And again, executing these 4 exercises successfully, that gave us the data we needed to achieve that. Once again, there were some people that doubted that we could do it. But I would say that, God showed me the gifts that He's given me about organization, leadership, and teaching and training. And I was blessed to have a good team of experts and professionals that helped us to do this, and we were successful. So those are the 2 events in my military career that, to me, were the most challenging, but were the most successful.
Okay, let's talk about your future goals and reflect a little bit. The
Sure.
first thing, are there any national initiatives or programs the fraternity is leading that you'd like more brothers to get involved in?
I am so glad you asked that question, because, the thing is, in the position that I'm in as the director of academics and as the director of programs and initiatives, there are some programs, again, like I said, these 2 organizations, in my opinion, interlink. And so with the program that I'm definitely trying to push across the fraternity is called Lock the Vote, one of them. And Lock the Vote is simply the voter registration, voter education, and voter initiative program that we want to be our national program. And this is, an easy program to do, because we, as members of Kappa Lambda Chi Military Fraternity Incorporated, should want to register to vote. And so that's something that should be pretty easy. But one of the things that I kind of looked at is, I didn't want to make the assumption that people understood why it's important to vote. So I created an education piece to this, that if you go to our chamber Facebook site, you can find the link and look and listen to the education seminar that we did on voter registration. And so we have a whole packet that every region or every chapter in the fraternity can get this packet, and to get their chapter members registered to vote. And when you do that, it will create also for you a metric that the national leadership uses to determine whether you're a chapter of the year or not. So that's one, Lock the Vote. And then we have in the Lambda Leadership Academy, we have the Intermediate Leadership Development course. And that course is designed to develop leaders. We made, again, the assumption that just because somebody's in a leadership position, that automatically made them a leader, and that was a false assumption. And so in 2019, I was tasked to create a leadership development program to train the members of our fraternity on how to become better leaders and to give them a tool, which is a leadership manual that we created that they can use day to day in their leadership tasks, whether you are a chapter officer, whether you are a division officer, whether you are a region or a national officer. The leadership manual that we provide and the training that we provide sets you up for success in whatever leadership position in this fraternity or in life. Because, again, the concepts that we teach, you don't have to use just in the fraternity. You can use it anywhere in life. And so it's 18 weeks, and they get a certificate of training. And this certificate of training has been used even for folks that are in the military uniform for credit toward promotion. So that's one program. And then a program that I am supporting is Lambda Dream. And the Lambda Dream program is basically our youth development program. And so those are, now I have several other programs as well, but those are the top three that I want to highlight here due to limitation of time.
All right, not a problem. And just so you know, on my platform, there's no such thing. There's limitation of time, unless you gotta go.
Well, hopefully, later on, if I can make the suggestion, we can come back at another time and just talk about that, because there's several programs
Yeah, absolutely.
that
Absolutely.
I am
My
working
platform is
on.
always going to be available for you, bro.
Well, I
I'll
appreciate
tell
it,
you
bro.
that because I remember our conversations at Stone Mountain at the convention. And you had a lot of great, matter of fact, we'll talk after this interview. Because you
Okay.
had a lot of great ideas that you wanted to implement.
Yeah,
But
I can
yeah, we'll
share
talk.
with you this because in the Directorate of Programs and Initiatives, I have categorized the programs in four. No, I take that back. 6 portfolios. Using my project management knowledge, and so we categorize these programs in these portfolios, and I can share with you what those are, and even do a presentation because I've already got slides and everything to do a presentation over
Okay.
that, and then maybe that will further inform the fraternity of here's what we have to offer.
Sounds good. That sounds good. As we get ready to wrap this up a little bit, so if you could go back in time and give yourself one piece of advice, what would it be?
So I live by a motto that kind of came to me while I was in graduate school. And this motto is based off of my faith because my faith is very important to me. Again, I've had people in my life who've poured into me. And part of that is understanding the concept of fear and the concept of faith. Fear is faith erased and reversed. But the concept of fear, yeah. But the concept of faith as an acronym, we're in the military, so we like acronyms, is for all I trust in Him, meaning for all I trust in God. And so if I were to leave anything with people today, if I could go back, 5, 10 years, 15, 20 years, to tell myself something, that is, don't be afraid to fail, but learn from your failures and then keep it moving. And so my motto that I have is, if your faith is full in the Father, your failures will never be final. If your faith is full in
I
the
like
Father,
that.
your failures will never be final, because sometimes we need to realize it's okay sometimes to fail because it helps us to learn. And sometimes, people's cockiness, or they think that they're walking on water because, maybe they've never failed. But when you fail, and if you're willing to learn from that failure, don't stay there. Once you've learned from that, then get up and keep it moving, because now you're much wiser, you're much knowledgeable, you can become a subject matter expert, or a SME as we call it in the military. And those people that are called SMEs, or subject matter experts, they're called that way because they've been through some things. They've, learned, they've grown, they've evolved. And that's the thing that I would, go back, and if I could go back and tell myself, don't be afraid to fail, but learn from your failures, get up and keep it moving.
It's good advice. Good advice. So, where can people find more information about the fraternity, its vision, and its mission? And also, if people wanted to reach out to you, what is your social media handles and pages?
Well, so of course, for the fraternity, the website to go to is militaryfraternity.org. And on that site, you will find the mission and vision statement. You'll find the leadership information. You will find also, I believe, where all the fraternities across the country and across the world are located, because we are an international fraternity. We have some chapters in outside of the continental United States. And then you can go to the national leadership page, and you'll probably see a picture of me, and you can click on an email and email me as well if you got questions or anything that you're wanting to know. Again, even though it says that I'm director of programs and initiatives, but I'm also director of academics for the National Office of Training Management. And again, my vision, if I can say, to the fraternity is hope to one day be able to create what we call this vision plan called the Lambda Institute. And the Lambda Institute would be a private arm of the fraternity that deals with scholarship, project management, and training. That it provides that capability for the fraternity, but it also impacts communities where we focus on small businesses, helping to get them trained in the area of project management, providing scholarships for military families or military supporting families, because you got some people that didn't necessarily retire from the military, but if you're a member of the armed forces, whether you served your initial time, or you eventually got out, or you retired, or you're currently in, you're part of that family, and we want to be able to have scholarships to help you or your children to move to the next level. Again, positive impact. And then we want to continue to with our leadership development academy to train the next set of leaders going forward, whether you're in doing something in the fraternity or you're doing something out or external to the fraternity. If you're out there trying to lead, we want to give you the tools, the education, and the backing to be successful in whatever you're doing.
Sounds good. Sounds good. I appreciate you for coming on my platform, bro. This is
All right.
Dr.
Thanks for having me.
Julius, Brother Xerxes Johnson, and I am Beck the Vet as I continue to try to honor the past, build the future, and serve the now. I appreciate you for coming on, bro. Thank you.
Thank you. Be blessed.